Hello, my name is Taylor Parham. I'm a student at Greenfield Community College, and I'm doing my research project all about fatal bird window strikes on our campus. It's a problem that many students have personal experience with between either hearing birds impact the windows while they're studying in the library or just finding dead birds in the terraces outside or next to windows. And it's something that a lot of people have been concerned about for a long time, and I'm hoping that we can end up doing something about it. And this picture here, you can see a pretty good illustration of why the issue occurs. This is a window on campus taken from the outside, and as you can see, from the outside, it just looks like it's another outside. And if it looks like that to us, it'll look like that to a bird. And they see that as being completely passable and see no reason why they wouldn't want to go to any of these trees over here, which of course they will instead be killed by the glass window. So we're really hoping that we can learn a little more about this issue and see exactly how much it's going on and what we might be able to do about it. So these are a few pictures of some of the areas that we've noticed, especially problems. This is the library where people often report hearing window strikes. Right here is the front of our school, which again reflects these trees out front. And in here is an inner courtyard wherein birds can see straight through the glass to the other side. And many birds nest in this inner courtyard. And as they're learning to fly, many attempt to fly through these windows and are instead killed, unfortunately. So in order to find out exactly how big of a problem this is and where it's happening most, we decided to look into a guide that was set out by the University of Utah, who was doing a similar study on their own campus for similar purposes. And they had a protocol involving doing a walk around the focused building, the target buildings every other day, taking pictures where the birds were found and uploading them to iNaturalist as a database, noting time, location, species, everything. We decided to take this as a baseline and do a little, add additional walks so that we would do a perimeter sweep every day of the week instead of every other day, as well as adding in some trail cameras in a few locations where we thought that birds were striking and potentially being taken by predators or being able to rouse themselves and fly away before we can locate them and collect a body or record the event. And we still want to, even if a bird does recover, we still want to record that event because they still hit the window, and we still want to make sure that we take that into consideration. So right here, apologies for the slightly graphic image, but it's a really good demonstration of the evidence that the windows are the culprit of bird deaths here. As you can see, we were making a study skin of one of these birds, and as soon as we peeled back the skin, we were able to see this cranial hematoma, which would have been directly caused by the impact with the plate glass. So a little graphic, apologies, but it is a very demonstrative of the issue at hand. So in this early period of our spring migration, we found 10 confirmed bird strikes across 8 species, including birds that hit the window and recovered, as well as things like this, where we were able to find evidence of a scavenger having collected a dead body and consumed it. And this is a list of all the species that we have been able to identify as having been impacted by this. As you can see, if you know your birds, there's a mix of both your local endemic species that live here all year round, as well as many migratory birds like these warblers here. Larger birds too, including a barred owl, struck a window at one point, and as well as some more species with about whose population we're concerned, like the yellow-billed cuckoo is a population of concern, certainly. So that's very important to note that it's not just the common birds that are being killed by this, but it's every kind of bird. And as I said, many of the strikes that we are recording are not immediately fatal as far as we can tell. Again, this barred owl we saw was able to recover and fly off. This Nashville warbler we looked after for a few minutes while it recovered and then was able to take off. And this phoebe here had actually fractured a bone in its wing and was unable to fly. So we had to collect it and take it to a rehab facility where, happy to report, it's doing better and has just been released. And of course, there are always going to be a few things that don't go completely according to plan. One of the big issues that we tried to get ahead of for this project was making sure that the normal groundskeeping staff that would be removing dead birds from where they find them would not be doing so that we would obviously get the full measure, get all of the data that we wanted. Unfortunately, we found out a couple weeks into our data collection that this message had not been properly conveyed and that the staff were still picking up some of our bird strike victims that we were hoping to use as data and disposing of them. And that has since been corrected, but it's hard to say exactly how much data we lost. And we have to take that into consideration. It was only the early part of the study that happened on, and we expect there to be a lot more information to come, but that is unfortunate. The other thing that we did expect somewhat, but not quite as it happened, was the fact that, well, many dead birds are going to be taken by animal scavengers before we can get to them, which is certainly natural. But we didn't expect that it would be the squirrels would be the main things behind that. We thought maybe foxes, coyotes would come after students had left the campus and then go around. But squirrels are there all day around. They go right up to the windows where the birds are being killed. And they are, by all accounts, going to be the first on the scene when a bird strike happens. And you might not expect it, but they are perfectly happy to devour a warm body if it is available. They are opportunistic omnivores, and a fresh bird body is going to be a fantastic food source for a squirrel. And in fact, we were able to see evidence not only of the squirrels directly eating the birds, but evidence that they had consumed multiple birds in the same spot. So we really think that this is a trend on our campus and is something that we need to be aware of. So last but not least, that brings us to our plans for the future of this project. Of course, we will continue to collect data till the end of the spring migration and probably throughout the summer. But one of the main things that we hope to do with that data is to identify a few windows that could most benefit by having some sort of mitigation strategy be tested on it. So there are lots of commercial options available for bird strike mitigation. As you can see here, one of the most proven effective ones is a simple pattern of dots on the surface of the window. And there is a small financial cost to doing that, of course, but for many people, the concern is mostly an aesthetic one. So we're hoping that through this study, we can convince some of those people, possibly in our own administration, that the concern over aesthetics might be outweighed by concern for our local avian wildlife. And that's definitely one of the things we hope to convey with doing this project. So that about wraps up everything I have for today. With that, thank you very much. And hope you enjoyed my presentation, and hope we can all do a little to help protect our local wildlife. Thank you very much. I'm Taylor Parham. Have a great day.